And we are Milk Crate Moments podcast. And today I have a special guest that I met through LinkedIn, and her name is Stephanie O'Brien. Stephanie, welcome to Milk Crate Moments.
Thank you.
Well, I'm so happy to have you here. We talked a little bit via Zoom before. So, Stephanie, the way I always start my podcast is, what was your Milk Crate moment?
Mine was both of my maternal grandparents died, and it was quite sudden in the case of my maternal grandmother. It was quite a reminder that you never know what's going to happen in life, when it's going to happen,
Mhm.
and whether you're going to still be around to take care of the people who love you, or whether they're going to suddenly need to take care of you. Because my maternal grandfather suddenly wound up very dependent on everybody around him. And it's a good thing he had preparations in place for retirement, but it really reminded me my parents are getting up there in age. Sooner or later, I'm going to have to take care of them. And I really wasn't financially ready for that. I wasn't making as much money as I wanted in my business. I was spending way too much time in my inbox, having really time-consuming conversations that nowhere near often enough led to actual paying clients. I'd
Mhm.
been told I needed to, get on more sales calls and such, but I just was taking way too long to get onto them, if I got onto them at all. So yeah, my business just wasn't working. I was spending too much time on the wrong things, and I had potential impending family needs that I wasn't prepared to meet.
Well, so having done that, were your grandparents way up in age, or were they, in that 60, 70-year-old range?
I don't remember the exact age. I think it was 80s,
Okay.
90s.
Okay, so they were pretty far up there. Well, so I understand, because I don't know why when you said it the first time, I got the feeling that they just weren't like really old yet. But it sounds like maybe
Oh,
they were really up there in age.
they were up there in age, but I've also had family members who weren't up there in age. I mean, when I was 12, my 7-year-old brother died, so you
Oh
really
my
never know
gosh.
when it's going to happen.
I'm so sorry.
It,
Of
it's quite a
course, right?
shock.
Yeah. So, how did you get through that when you've got two grandparents that died pretty close together, and now you're worried about you may have to be a breadwinner at some point, and what am I going to do with my aging parents? What
Yeah, so
happened
it,
next?
Well, I came to a realization I needed to change what I was doing in my business or drop it and find a job, basically. And I just was not willing to throw away everything that I'd worked for years on end to, do something totally new that didn't even have, it had potentially even less security than a business with all the layoffs we've been hearing about lately. So I decided something needed to change. I needed to get smarter about how I manage my inbox. I needed to get more decisive about getting people into sales calls. I actually started working with a coach, Natalie Hankins, who has been very helpful with helping me get past some of the mindset stuff, like worrying that what if I'm being too pushy by getting people into sales calls earlier? What if I'm how am I spending all this time but not actually moving conversations forward? So she gave me some specific strategies for finding more leads, for moving conversations forward faster. She gave me the kick in the butt to actually invite people to calls instead of spending a long time building up to it. And nowadays, instead of spending a long time building up to it, I'm just saying, pretty early on, hey, do you want to keep on getting to know each other here in Facebook Messenger, or do you want to have a 20-minute virtual coffee?
Oh, well, that sounds like a great piece there.
Thank you.
So, so you got through that piece in your business. What would it have meant to you if you hadn't gotten through that? What would have happened?
I think I would have continued to spend just way too much time. Either A, I would have had to keep on spending way too much time for way too little money, spending pretty much all my work hours and having way too little to show for it. Or I would eventually had to drop my business and go get a 9 to 5 or something like that, get a
Yeah.
job. And I really didn't want to have to live by other people's schedule like that, and throw away all the entrepreneurial skills to develop more employee centric skills. It wouldn't have quite been starting from zero, but too close for comfort.
Sure. Well, I know you're also a business coach. So let's talk about tell me how you became a business coach.
Well, it actually started with me spending many years doing fiction writing, and it's
Oh,
yeah,
interesting.
yeah, and you wouldn't think that would tie in, but when you think about it, so what I was doing then and what I'm doing now, helping coaches turn their expertise into books and group coaching programs, there's actually a fair bit of overlap in skill. With the fiction writing, you take all these different characters, these plot points, the logistics, the foreshadowing, all this huge amount of information, and then you're organizing it into a specific, coherent, step-by-step flow that people can easily read and absorb and find emotionally compelling. So I take
Sure.
those same skills of taking a huge amount of information and making it emotionally compelling and easy to follow. And now I use it, in business. So I got into that when Mom actually became a life coach, and I started writing for her business, just using my fiction skills for nonfiction. Studying under people like Brenda Normand and Callan Rush to learn how to translate those fiction skills into marketing skills. Though eventually I realized I'm okay at marketing, but what I'm really good at is helping people to take a lot of information and make it easy to understand and follow. I'm like the universal translator from Star Trek. It's the comparison I like to use. So
Well,
that's,
that's pretty awesome there. So you're helping people kind of condense their content into easy to follow, step-by-step processes so they can create a course or something like that, a program or whatever they're looking to create.
yeah. So I should kind of move on saying I'm pretty good at teaching people how to describe their products in ways that are really emotionally compelling and that make people interested in learning more. But yeah, where I shine the brightest is where I'm helping them to turn it into educational content that people can learn from and get results from.
So when you were working through this, right? You hired a coach, you were taking your writing expertise and turning that into copywriting, basically, right? And helping
Mm-hmm.
people create this thing. Um, how long did that take you to get through your milk crate moment?
Um, I'd say it took several months for me to get through the bad habits I had, and I'm still in some ways working on getting past that. I've gotten really good at moving the conversations forward faster, but sometimes I still let myself get bogged down in my inbox. I'm still learning to focus on getting the stuff I need to do in my business done, to set boundaries around how much time my inbox can take up. And I'll admit it's still sometimes a challenge to determine, should I prioritize this pile of emails or should I prioritize this other business project?
Okay, because when you say you're spending way too much time in your inbox, I don't really know what that means. Can you be a little more specific on when you say I'm spending a lot of time on my inbox? I don't feel like I ever spend enough any time in my inbox. Now, having said that, I do have 37,000 emails in my inbox. Just saying. So tell me. So that's maybe why I don't understand what you're saying, Stephanie. Explain that for me as if I'm the dodo who doesn't understand inboxes, apparently.
Well, let's say that I've decided I will spend from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock on answering emails and Facebook messages and such, and I'll spend just 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock working on designing a new course. But then at the end, when 2 o'clock comes around, there's still all these emails to answer, and sometimes I succumb to the temptation to keep on answering emails when I should be doing something else.
Gotcha. Apparently, I don't have any thoughts about answering all the emails. So just saying, I'm not saying that's right, by the way. I'm not saying that's right or the right thing to do. All right. So let's talk a little bit about, hold on a minute. I have a question here too for you. Shoot.
I see Yvette's in there. Hi, Yvette.
Oh, is that, you see somebody here?
Oh, yeah, a friend of mine just popped into the chat to say hi. So, hi.
Oh, well, hi, Yvette. Nice to see you here. Okay. So let's talk about how you are attracting your clients right now. You kind of gave a little hint to it, but what is it? What are your client attraction strategies that you're finding that are really working for you right now?
One of the most effective ones has been going to networking events, especially JV Directory. I went to that event and wound up with as many leads as I could follow up with. And
Who was
after
the
that,
person there? Who was the JV event? Who was the main person there?
Mark Porteous is the one who invited me there. There's another guy, crap, name's slipping my mind. I've met so many people through there that I can't hold all the names in my mind anymore.
I know
But
Mark
yeah,
Porteous. Did we talk about that before?
I think we might have been. Actually met him through Casey Everhart's Expand the Business Network, and then I reached out
And
to
I know
him, and then he
Casey.
invited me to JV Networking or to
Awesome.
JV Directory, and
Well,
it kind of
that's very
snowballed from
cool.
there. Yeah, it snowballed from there because I started, reaching out to the people I met in that networking event, and we invited each other to each other's groups. I joined some of their Facebook groups. Some of the people from those groups started messaging me, and then I started getting a whole bunch of friend requests from people who said, "Hey, Facebook recommended you to me. Thought I'd check you out." And some of them were saying, "Hey, I love the content you've been posting. Wanted to get to know you."
Well,
So,
first of all, I didn't know we had so many contacts in together, and maybe
cool.
maybe we did connect through Facebook, and that now that you're saying that, maybe we did connect through there instead of LinkedIn. So, just that's so good. I don't know why I'm finding this I know we talked before. I don't know why I'm finding this fascinating right now. Okay, so go back to your client strategy. Sorry, squirrel. So
That's okay.
why I have 37,000 emails in my inbox and you don't. So just saying. Go
Yeah, I've
ahead.
got like 13 in my inbox now after I keep on paring it down to a whole lot more than that.
I don't even understand what you're saying right now, Stephanie. 13.
Oh, thank you, you
Oh
guys.
my gosh, that's so funny. Okay, so let's go back to client connection strategy. So you were finding people on Facebook, right?
Yeah, and well,
People,
mostly lately they've been finding me. And
well,
a lot of it has been, me posting content, me engaging in groups. I post the content on my own feeds and in the groups. On my own feeds, I tend to include a call to action that ties in. Like if I just gave a marketing tip, I'll direct them to a book I co-authored about describing your products and their value in a way that the clients can understand and see the value in. But if I'm posting in groups, of course, I gotta obey the group rules, and they
sure.
often forbid calls to action. So I'll just post the content in there, and if people want to reach out to me based on that, that's great. Sometimes I'll engage with other people's posts. They ask a question or ask for feedback, and I'll pipe in with something helpful. But once again, still gotta obey the group rules and not do any self promotion or, as the case may be, some groups won't allow you to DM the members. So admittedly, I don't tend to spend quite as much time in those, because DMing people and getting to know each other is one of my main marketing strategies. But so if the group allows that, I'll do that. If not, I'll just share value, interact in the group, be respectful, and if somebody wants to reach out to me, awesome.
Oh, well, if they can't now, if you can't DM them, how can they DM you within a group? Or do they literally leave the group and find you on Facebook too?
To be honest, I don't really investigate thoroughly which group each person comes from. So for all I know, they could be DMing me from a group that says don't do that, but I have no idea whether they met me in that group or if they just kind of
Okay.
came out of the blue and found me on Facebook.
I just was wondering. I just thought that was interesting the way you said that. Um, so let's talk about here. What are the steps involved in creating a course? Now, I'm not asking you to give away your secret sauce, right? Because as a coach, we don't do that, right? I'm
Well,
not
there's no way I possibly could give the whole thing
Of
in
course
just
you
one
can't.
short interview anyway.
Of
So
course you can't.
yeah.
So, but give us a couple tips on if somebody wanted to create a course, what would be the first step they'd take?
First step they take is we usually have a 20-minute virtual coffee and just get an idea of what kind of help they needed and how in depth they needed. Some people do better with just a book, and other people need kind of more in-depth, personalized help, which would involve live coaching.
Very cool. And then what is that first step though? Like what is what when they want to do a course besides having the virtual coffee, like what's the first thing they should be doing in their business if they want to put a course together?
Well, the first step would be to choose the topic. It should preferably be something that the ideal clients already know that they want, just something that keeps them up at night thinking. And it's important, I should note, to focus on the symptoms that they know about. Like I like to use the story of one guy I knew who he had celiac disease, and he'd get these debilitating stomach aches. But if you offered him a cure for celiac disease early on, he would have said no because he didn't know he had celiac disease. He knew he had horrible stomach aches, but not that he didn't know why he had them. So it's very
Mhm.
important when choosing your topic to focus on the problems they know they have and the solution or the outcome they know they want. And then you can offer to help them find out what's at the root of this problem. Why are you having these experiences, and make that one of your selling points.
Gotcha.
But yeah, the bottom line is, to choose something that you can help people with, that they want to be helped with.
Thank you. I
Awesome.
believe that. That's exactly what I talk about and what I teach as well. So I'm glad to know that we're on the same page there. Um, what I want to know is once you've gone through your milk crate moment, what was the biggest thing you learned from that?
I think one of the biggest things I learned was to not be so perfectionistic. I was often spending too much time on creating each piece of content, trying to make it perfect. I was taking too long to invite people because, oh, what if I'm being pushy? What if it's too early? What if we don't have enough rapport? So I learned to just take bigger, imperfect action and get it done rather than not get it done and have it sitting there perfect in my head while never actually seeing the light of day.
That is our mantra, right? In my groups is done is better than perfect, right?
And
Mhm.
I'd say one of the biggest changes has just been, getting more proactive about inviting people to calls and not spending so much time waffling through small talk and trying to build up that rapport to the point where we can start establishing a rapport on the call.
Yeah.
I'm still not pushing about it. I'm still saying, do you want to get to know each other here or on a call? I give them that choice,
Yeah.
but I make the call the option a whole lot sooner.
Oh, good. By the way, do you know what they call people who are perfectionists?
I'm sure there are a lot of words for it, but feel free to share yours.
I'm going to share mine. Broke, right? They're not making any money if you're spending so much time tied up into that perfectionism. So first of all, yay
Well,
you
thank you.
for getting through that. Stephanie, I know you have a free gift for everybody today. Do you want to talk about that?
Well, sure. It walks you through some of the basics of designing the lessons in your group program. So you can take this a huge amount of information that you've had in your head, information that you may have previously kind of depended on a question and answer format to share. You talking with the client talking back. If you spend a lot of time, doing one-on-one, depending on that back and forth, it may be hard to take it out of your head and organize it into a coherent flow. So I have that. Free gift that helps you, that walks you through the process of organizing your information into that coherent flow that people can easily follow from point A to point B, which can help you to turn it into things like a book, a group coaching program, a pre-recorded training, a hybrid of those. Whatever you want to do to make it more scalable, to enable yourself to share it with more people at a time rather than being limited to trading hours for dollars by serving one client at a time.
Is that how you work with your clients? Are you mostly group based?
Yeah, I've kind of got several different options. Yeah, I've got the coaching, I've got the book, and I'm working on the pre-recorded version of it. I'm actually in the
Cool.
process of up-leveling it right now. I've got a version of it up right now, but I'm actually working on a new and improved version that'll have some additional information on how to keep in action and keep creating even when you feel busy or overwhelmed or tired.
I love that.
Thank you.
We are just about out of time. So the last thing I always ask people, Stephanie, is what is your very favorite piece of business advice you would give someone, another business owner?
And there's so many it's hard to choose from, but I'd say one of the best ones is to just focus on giving value over giving value and being yourself over being perfect. And that includes sharing the messy parts of your life. Share the life lessons you've had, share the mistakes you've made and what you've learned from it. Share from your authentic self and with your authentic voice. And remember that people are buying you, not just your product. Especially if you're a coach, there's a bazillion coaches who are probably teaching similar things to what you're teaching, but nobody's going to teach it in your style. It's your style, your personality, to some degree, your unique content, but to a big degree, your style and personality that's going to set you apart from all these other people who are sharing the same thing. So focus on giving value and being authentic instead of on being perfect or trying to be an ideal replica of your favorite mentor.
I think I'm going to add something there from my perspective on that. It's also about show people who you really are, meaning like, what do you stand for, right? Not necessarily just your social causes or business policies or whatever that is, but who are you really to the core, right? Let them know that, like you said, that authentic self. I think I absolutely agree with you that is one of the very best ways and that you can share with people. The very best thing you can share with people is who you really are authentically, because we all meet people who can't take a side on any given topic, right? Know who you are, know what you stand for, and speak your truth. I love that. I love that, Stephanie. Thank you so much for being here. Listen, I'm just thrilled to death to, even if we talked about it before and I forgot about it, that we have people in common. The fact that I know that we will run into each other more often. And I'm so, so incredibly grateful that you chose to spend a few minutes with me here today, telling me about your milk crate moment, and everybody else too.
And thank you so much for having me, Jean. And thank you for showing up and saying hi, Yvette.
Yeah, Yvette, nice to see you. All right. Have a great day, everybody. This has been Milk Crate Moments, and we will be back next week with another Milk Crate Moment. Thank you. Bye.